Hi folks, you clicked on this video because you currently have QuickBooks Desktop that looks like this, and you're thinking about converting to QuickBooks Online that looks like this. QuickBooks Online is a great piece of software. It doesn't look like QuickBooks Desktop. They have some things in common, but many people are moving online. They're moving to the cloud, and they want to take advantage of some of the additional features you can get when QuickBooks is on the cloud, right? However, QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online are very different pieces of software, and the conversion is not a one-click process. Everything converts, everything's easy. There's actually a lot of nuances. And in this video, I want to give you 5 tips that you want to keep in mind prior to doing that conversion. Hi, I'm Hector Garcia. I'm a CPA. I have a QuickBooks consulting practice, and doing conversions from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online is probably one of the most common services that we do. And I want to give you through this video sort of the tips, the truth that I know through the conversion that will help you have a more pleasant experience. I am not selling you our consulting services. I actually want you to learn how to do it so you can do it on your own. So you want to follow these 5 steps. The 5 steps are the following. Number 1, you must always create a brand new QuickBooks Online account. Some people create the QuickBooks Online account, they're sort of playing with it, then they want to do the conversion, but then they get a little bit upset or confused that after the conversion, the stuff that was already in QuickBooks Online gets deleted. And that's true. When you do the conversion, you basically reset the account. So in order to avoid any confusion and to leave whatever file you were playing with and working with, to leave it alive and not lose that data, you're going to create a brand new one. And then after you convert, you decide whether to cancel the other one or keep some of the data if you want to bring that stuff back into the newly converted file. Because again, you cannot merge something you've already been working with in QuickBooks Online with the data you're migrating from QuickBooks Desktop. Point number 2, or tip number 2, is you definitely need to take a look at the different versions, and you want to pick the right version of QuickBooks Online so you don't get disappointed that you pick the version that doesn't have the features that you're used to seeing in QuickBooks Desktop. Again, they don't have feature parity. Many things are very similar and many things are very different. So we'll discuss that briefly. And I want to also show you a document in which you can look at all the things that you lose through the conversion process. So there's limitations in the conversion, and some of the data gets lost, some of the templates gets lost, and it's extremely important that you know them and you're aware of them prior to conversion to avoid major disappointment or major confusion. Tip number 3 is QuickBooks Online will prompt you through a conversion process, but that process is actually confusing. I have a shortcut, or actually all consultants of my type have a shortcut that we use to do that conversion faster and more accurately. So I'm going to walk you through that process, and you're going to ignore the process that's basically a giving to the end common users, just because that one's more clunky, more cumbersome. You want to use the one that consultants use. Trust me, you will be pleased with the results. Number 4, after you convert, you got to check what QuickBooks Desktop looked like, and you want to compare the total amount in the report versus the total amount in the report on the converted QuickBooks Online, and you want to see if there are any discrepancies, to see if there are any balances or amounts that need to be adjusted. You might need to work with your accountant on making those adjustments. There's no easy button you can just press and make it match. You have to kind of look at it, and you have to make a decision, and we'll discuss what that looks like. And number 5, once the conversion is done, once you're ready and excited to use QuickBooks Online, where can you get help? I'll show you how you can get help from Intuit, or some help from Intuit. I'll show you what resources are out there for you to search additional help, how to find consultants that are experts in the subject matter to maybe walk you through or train you or train your team on how to do this. And I'm going to give you a special link that contains a playlist of videos. It's about 8 to 9 hours worth of videos, which I give it to all my clients. That's sort of the perfect A through Z sort of tutorial process if you want to learn on your own. So let's dig right in and talk about some of these 5 tips in detail. So the first step is you want to create a brand new QuickBooks Online, fresh, clean file for you to transfer the desktop data into. I'm going to put a link in the description, which is a link that you should use to purchase or set up a brand new QuickBooks Online account. That link allows you to get a 30-day free trial so you can create the account, upload the data, and then decide if you want to keep it after the conversion. But most importantly, that same link will give you at least a 30% discount for the first 12 months of the subscription. So as long as you use the link I'll put in the description, you will get the 30% for 12 months. I'll give you one more pro tip. There's actually a promotion that started early 2022, which will give you an extended discount from 30% to 50% if you actually do the conversion from desktop and then sign up. And I'll put my email below. If you actually do the conversion and you sign up for the account, just email me and I'll have somebody from Intuit override the account and push that 50% promo that's actually not available to the general public. You have to contact a reseller like myself for us to override the price on the back end. So again, if you use the link I put in the description, you will be given 30% discount no matter what, whether you convert or not. But if you successfully convert from desktop and activate the account, email me and then I will fix that so you get the 50% for 12 months. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and choose the version of QuickBooks that we want. Now, I'm going to go ahead and combine point 2 and point 1 into one that I mentioned earlier, because you do need to pick the right version of QuickBooks Online in order for you to have the most possible pleasant experience. The version of QuickBooks Online that mostly matches Desktop Pro, which is what most people have, is going to be QuickBooks Online Plus. That is, as of the date of this video, $80 a month, and you will get 30% for 12 months, for the first 12 months, or possibly 50 if you do the desktop conversion, and then you're going to be paying that full price. Obviously, a huge sticker shock from what you might be used to paying on the desktop side, but that's the online product. It's more expensive. Now, if you want to go with Essentials, that's okay. Essentials is a pretty good product. Essentials does give you the ability to track income and expenses, bills like accounts payable, and it lets you have up to 3 users. But what you don't get in QuickBooks Online Essentials is you do not get inventory management, you do not get classes and locations, you do not get budgets, and you do not get project management or project costing. And to me, QuickBooks Online, without any of those things, classes, locations, project management or project costing or job costing, budgets, inventory, without these things, you really start missing out some of the more beautiful things that QuickBooks Online has. QuickBooks Online Plus has 5 users versus 3 users in QuickBooks Online Essentials. However, one really cool thing about QuickBooks Online Plus is that you can have unlimited report-only users and unlimited timesheet-only users. So you have employees logging in and clocking in, or you have other people that are just going to look at reports. You can create that with Plus, and you can with Essentials. And Simple Start, which is the lowest version, I typically do not recommend it ever, because Simple Start doesn't have accounts payable, so you cannot track vendors that you owe money to in the future. And one of the most important features about having an accounting system and running your own accounting is understanding what your cash flow looks like. And if you can't track what you're going to pay in the future, you cannot track true future cash flow. Simple Start works. It does banking, it does invoices, it does expenses. But again, because of that a lack of accounts payable feature, and also timesheets for that matter, that's something that I just don't recommend Simple Start very often. However, you can start with Simple Start and always upgrade in the future, no problem. Now, let's look at the other spectrum, QuickBooks Online Advanced. There's a big price gap between Plus and Advanced. I love QuickBooks Online Advanced, but I know it's, for most people, it's going to be a pretty big sticker shock unless you're already paying for QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise, which you're probably used to paying a lot more than $200 a month for software anyway. But for most people moving from QuickBooks Desktop Pro or possibly QuickBooks Desktop Premier, that Plus edition tends to be sort of that sweet spot. Now, I'll talk about Advanced real quick. What you get with Advanced is you get 25 users. You can have up to 25 people logging into QuickBooks. And you get, in a nutshell, there's a whole bunch of features listed here. But in a nutshell, you get better analytics. You get better custom report capabilities. And you get a couple of extra things like custom fields and customize user permissions, so you can restrict what some of the users can have access to, especially if you have a multi-user environment. You can import certain data, like you can batch import bills and invoices from Excel. You can batch import other transaction types. You can batch import budgets from Excel. A couple of extra things, and they'll probably keep adding more things after the video is created. Again, that plus is probably going to be most likely that sweet spot what most people go into. So let's go ahead and follow through, and I'm going to click on try it for free, and we're going to set up a brand new account, a free trial account for QuickBooks Online Plus. So once you click on try it now, the first steps are going to be really easy. You're going to put your email address, you're going to put your mobile number, and you're going to put a password. Now notice that you have to have a mobile number because this is only for US accounts. If you're outside of the US, I don't know what the conversion process looks like or the pricing or what the process is. This video is solely for US people. So to verify your password and stuff like that, they're going to use a mobile number. Anyway, so you're going to put your email address, mobile number, and password, and then you're going to click sign up with email, and that's going to create the account. Now, there might be a situation where you try to create the account and it's going to give you this error that says, hey, we already have a user ID taken. Basically, it means that you have created an account with Intuit, with QuickBooks in the past. And in order for you to use that same email, you cannot sort of create the new password. You have to recover your password. It's a very simple process. If you don't know what your password is, you could try to click sign in, see if you can guess it or remember it, or you can just click on recover your account, and then you will put your email. It will send you a code to your email, and you go through the process of recovering it, and then you would move forward. And the next step, it would take you to the account configuration screen. Perfect. So you either recover your existing ID or create a new one, and then click on sign up, and then you're going to go to the next screen. Now, one thing you will notice is that you will not have any credit cards that it will ask you for, because this is going to be a 30-day free trial, and it will last for 30 days before you even have to enter that credit card in there. So that's actually a great thing. Okay, so I'm going to continue with the sign-in process, and then it should prompt you, do you want to set up payroll? Now, it's up to you if you want to configure payroll. If you have payroll already in QuickBooks Desktop, that's a whole nother process. We're not going to cover the payroll conversion process because there's actually an extra step that needs to be done with payroll. So I will put a link in the description below for payroll-related videos and that sort of thing. So it's up to you whether you want to add up payroll or not. For the time being, I'm going to put a continue trial, not do the payroll, because I just want to do the conversion first. And whether or not you have payroll in desktop already, you don't have to necessarily agree to do payroll right now in order for it to work. It's just for the prompt and the pop-ups that show up. So for now, I'm just going to put continue to trial. I'm going to ignore payroll for now. We'll talk about that a little bit later on as we finish the conversion process. Then it's going to go through all the questionnaires. So I'm going to click on next. First thing it's going to ask me is what's the name of the business. I'm going to call this Construction Company 2022 Corp, just so I can identify it quickly when I'm doing the conversion process. I'll show you what that looks like. And then I'm definitely going to click on the checkbox that says I'm moving from QuickBooks Desktop. That's really important, so it doesn't ask you a gazillion more questions, because it doesn't matter. It's transferring data from another file, so you don't have to go through many questions. You want to hit the checkbox. Even if you miss it, not a big deal. You can still do the conversion, but this will speed up the process. So I'm going to go ahead and click on done, and then you will notice that because I hit the checkbox, it's not going to ask me the 20 questions that it normally asks me. Now, there's a button here that says bring your data. As I mentioned earlier, you can click in that, you can watch that video, you can try to look at the instructions on how it works, but I'm telling you, you're going to follow my process. My process is the fastest and best way to do so. So I'm going to switch over to QuickBooks Desktop. So now I'm ready to do the conversion because my file is created. That's all you have to do. Create a blank file, give it a name, and be on that page. Again, be back on this page, on the dashboard, whatever. You just have a brand new blank file. There's nothing in there. Just the file exists and it has a company name. That's all you need. So we're going to go back into QuickBooks Desktop, and you're going to hit Control-1 in your keyboard. Control-1. That's going to pop up product information. Then you're going to hit Control-BQ. Control-BQ, like QB but backwards. Control BQ, and then you're going to hit OK. When you do Control BQ, you're going to have a pop-up that says, hey, we're ready to do the upgrade to migrate the data from desktop to online. So it's going to ask you something about doing an update. If you're working on an older version of QuickBooks, yes, you want to go ahead and do the update, be on the latest version. You want to be on the latest version, not the latest year version, but the latest sort of release, security release version. So you're going to go through the update process. I'm already in the latest version. So now I'm going to click on Not Now, and we're going to go through the conversion steps. So then it says, hey, we got to ask you some information. Sure. I'm going to click on Get Started. And then after I click on Get Started, the next page is going to ask me, it's going to just go through a quick review, and then it's going to ask me to select destination. Select destination means log into QuickBooks Online and pick the new company file that we just created. So I'm going to click on Select Destination, and now it's going to give me a prompt. This is where I'm going to log in with the username and password I just created when I did a brand new QuickBooks Online file, or the one that I recovered if I happen to already have one. So I'm going to go ahead and put my login information here, email and password, and we're going to go ahead and log in. Then it might ask you for a code, whether to your text or to your email, just to verify your identity. And you're going to put that verification code in there and click on Continue. So now it's logging into your QuickBooks Online account. One caveat, if you have inventory, it's going to ask you, hey, we're moving inventory, but QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop have different inventory criteria or different inventory valuation methods. So if you are going to move the inventory, you do have to pick as of what date you're going to start officially running your QuickBooks Online and using the new valuation method. So let's say, for example, I have a clean 2021 or a bunch of years up to 12/31/2021, and then I want to January 1st, 2022, or whatever year version, whatever year you're doing this in, or whatever date it is, you're going to pick the date that you're done with your books and your tax returns and everything, and what's going to be the official date that you're going to kick in QuickBooks Online with the new valuation method. So in a nutshell, QuickBooks Online uses FIFO, and QuickBooks Desktop uses average cost. So there's going to be a switch or a change in calculation method, and it's only relevant if you have inventory. If you don't have inventory, it might not even ask you. So again, that's going to be the beginning date that you're going to start using QuickBooks Online officially. And then I'm going to click on Continue. Now, I mentioned earlier that sometimes you will log in, or when you create a new account, you have to log in with an existing account. Maybe you have another QuickBooks Online file you were playing with, or another company file, where you're going to have in the drop-down menu, you're going to have every single company you can access with that login. So make sure, double check, triple check, quadruple check that you pick the right company file to do the migration into. Don't do the migration on a file that you didn't want to lose the existing data that's in there. So make sure you pay very close attention. What's the name of the file? Remember, I gave it a name that I could identify. I could always change that name later to make sure I don't override a different file that I don't want to override. Then I'm going to put it in the brand new, fresh file that you probably used my link, so you get that special discount as well. So really important as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Continue. And then it says, keep your QuickBooks Desktop running. This could take up to 30 minutes. So I'm going to pause the video, and as soon as this is done, I'm going to show you what the next step looks like. I'm literally just going to watch it complete, and when it's done, I'll resume the video. So after that first phase, you're going to get a pop-up menu that says, hey, when you're ready, we're going to email you a confirmation that your QuickBooks Online file is ready to go. And it took about 20 minutes for my file to get converted. That was a little bit bigger file. Yours might take 10, 5, 30 minutes. Sometimes it takes up to an hour, but it's really, really quick through this process. You'll be surprised how quick the data gets uploaded. Anyway, you're going to get an email that says, congratulations, your data is now available. And then you can click on complete your setup. You actually don't need to click on complete your setup. In some cases, you can just log in back to QuickBooks Online, and you should be able to see your data there. Okay, we're logged in back into QuickBooks Online. All my data from QuickBooks Desktop is there, or let's call it most your data. We'll discuss briefly what is the stuff that doesn't come over. But the way I'm going to now verify or look at what QuickBooks Online has versus Desktop is to pull the reports. So I'm going to click on the Reports menu. I'm going to click on Reports. And then I'm going to pull up the profit and loss report. That's probably the best one to pull, profit and loss. And then where it says dates, I'm going to pick all dates because you want to see all the data that got converted. Just a quick reminder, you can't choose how many years of data to bring over. You either bring all or none. That's how the conversion works. Okay, so I did all dates, and I'm going to scroll all the way down, and I'm going to look at my net income. So these are my profit and loss for all the years that I've had QuickBooks Desktop. My accumulated net income is $156,840. So I'm going to do that by switching over to QuickBooks Desktop. I'm going to click on Got It here, and I'm going to run the exact same report. So I'm going to go to Reports, Company Financial, Profit and Loss Standard, same report. I'm going to go into Dates. I'm going to select all dates. Again, the same thing. And really important, this needs to be in accrual basis. So if this is sitting here on cash basis, QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop calculate cash and accrual differently. And in many times it won't match, and there's no easy button you can just press and make it magically work. The conversion is assumed that you're going to compare these things in accrual. So accrual is the comparative, the comparison point that you're going to use. So you're going to do accrual, and then we're going to scroll all the way down, and we're going to see that our net income is the same. In this case, it is not. This is 156,847.02. When I flip over to this one, QuickBooks Online is 156,840.66. There's a slight difference. You will probably want to identify which year is the difference. You don't have to, but you can. That's an option. So I'm going to do total by years. Click on Run Report. Switch over to QuickBooks Desktop. Do the same thing up here. Total by year. And then click on Refresh. Now, one little point I want to make. I'm going to go back to QuickBooks Online. I did mention, I think, that I don't recommend QuickBooks Online Simple Start. This little feature of showing columns by year is not available in Simple Start. So it's one of the reasons why I recommend Essentials, Plus, or Advanced only, because sometimes you do need that little feature to look at that by year. So we're looking at the profit and loss to the couple of years, and then I could probably go in there and look at the net income across every year and try to figure out which of the 2 years is the one, or which of the 3 years in this case is the one that's different. So you're going to go in there, identify it, and then once you know, then you're going to make a decision, do a journal entry, talk to your accountant. Do you care? You might not even care. Again, there's no one button I could press to just fix it. The fix is basically a journal entry, and then you just have to decide whether or not that's important. That might be something you might need to decide with your accountant if you really don't understand what that means. For most people, if the difference is less than $1,000 or whatever, depending on the size of your company, you're probably okay moving forward. More importantly than the comparative of profit and loss might be the comparative of the balance sheet. That one's actually a little bit more important. So I'm going to close that out. I'm going to go Reports, Company Financial, and then I'm going to run Balance Sheet. Now, I typically want to run the balance sheet based on the last period. That's my official period that I did a tax return or whatever. So in this case, mine was last fiscal year. And then basically what I want to do is I want to compare. I'm going to switch over to QuickBooks Online, go to Reports, and do the same thing, compare the balance sheet, because a discrepancy in the balance sheet, I'm going to do the same exact period here, last year. A discrepancy in the balance sheet could be more problematic than a discrepancy on the P&L. So we look at our bank accounts are the same. That's good news. I look at accounts receivable is the same. Great news. Then I'm going to look at my total assets. My total assets are a little bit different right here. So my current assets ends in 89. This one ends in 95. I think my difference is in inventory. Yes, it is. Inventory asset, 30,363. 663, and then inventory asset, 677. So it's a good time to mention that. Remember when I mentioned that little difference in average cost versus FIFO? Again, I don't want to get into the weeds of this, but you might need to make an adjustment into the inventory asset account. For inventory companies, a slight difference in inventory is expected. So again, that's as much as I'll cover when it comes to matching them to. That really is the thing that you want to check that the conversion worked. Now, next steps or last steps is I got QuickBooks Online. I'm happy with the data that was carried over. What are some of the things that I'm immediately not going to see in my QuickBooks Online? First of all, when I go into banking, I'm going to have to connect the banks. So if you already had the banks connected to QuickBooks Desktop, that connection doesn't come in. I strongly recommend connecting your banks. Probably the best feature of QuickBooks Online, period, is being able to download stuff from the bank. So you're going to click on Connect Account. Again, I'm going to put a link in the description to a full tutorial series that covers banking and all the nuances of banking and beginning balances. But just long story short, you want to connect those banks as the next step, and you probably want to pick the beginning of the year or the beginning of that period that you will officially be working in QuickBooks Online, so you don't duplicate any data that you have there from the past. So the banking is something you need to do. As I mentioned earlier, payroll. So even if you had payroll in QuickBooks Desktop, some of those paychecks will transfer. The historical paychecks will transfer. So I can click on any of my employees, and yes, I had payroll, so I might see some of the let's do here, let's do last year. I may see some of the checks. I may not see them as paychecks. I will see the employees, but I will see, I'll show you. I'm going to go to reports, and I'm going to run the profit and loss, and I'm going to go back to last year. Again, if you don't have payroll, this stuff is not really that important to you. And then I'm going to go look at my payroll expenses, and then I'll show you that the paychecks are there, but they're not showing up as a paycheck. They're showing up as a check. Moving forward, if you want to run actual payroll in QuickBooks Online, this is where you are going to make the decision of signing up for payroll. So you would click on payroll, and you would go into overview maybe, and then you're going to go through the prompts here to set up your payroll if that's what you wanted. You wanted to set up payroll. You can also always set up payroll by clicking on the gear menu, clicking on account and settings, and then going up here to where it says billing and subscription. And this is going to tell you all the things that are set up. So in this particular case, QuickBooks Online payroll was automatically selected. So in this case, it was selected. You can upgrade or downgrade your plan from here. There's multiple versions of payroll. I'm not going to go into those in detail for the time being, but I will put a link in the description that contains tons of videos, including videos about payroll. So it all depends on whether or not you selected to set up payroll, or in this case, QuickBooks just assumed you were going to have payroll because the QuickBooks Desktop file had payroll. Again, you can just cancel your trial and if you don't want to activate payroll. One little caveat I'll talk about payroll is just like I get that discount when you set up the new account for 12 months, I also get a special discount for payroll. So if you do sign up for payroll, go ahead and sign up, set it up, and then email me. It could be the same email as the 50% discount for the first 12 months, or a different email. Say, Hector, I activated payroll. Can you give me your discount? And I'll show you instructions on how to do that. The next thing is, if you had credit card payments activated in QuickBooks Desktop, that's not going to be transferring automatically. So if you were collecting invoices digitally, where customers were paying you with a credit card by paying your invoices online, that doesn't get enabled automatically. You actually have to click on the gear menu. You have to go back into account and settings, and you're going to go into payments. Now, if you did have a payments account in QuickBooks Desktop, you're going to go through the existing account route. You can click on connect, and that's going to let you log in. You have to figure out how to log in to that account and connect that existing account or transfer that existing account over to QuickBooks Online. If you didn't have payments already in QuickBooks Desktop, and you do like the idea of having customers pay you with a credit card or ACH electronically, just email them the invoice, they pay you automatically. It's a beautiful thing. Probably one of the best features of QuickBooks Online is having people pay you digitally. Then you can create your account. You can click here on Learn More, and you can go through the prompts of creating the account. Now, another thing, obviously, again, I'm a QuickBooks reseller. If you do set up the payments account, you can email me right before you set it up, and I'll connect you into a rep, and you will get a little bit of a discount on the amount they charge per invoice, because they do charge a percentage for invoice. So you can pay the full rate through into it, or you can get a slight discount. It's actually tiny. It might save you $100 or $200 in the entire year. not a big number. But if you have a lot of volume, having a small percentage point decrease, which is a discount that my customers can get, that might help. So if you are going to activate a payment account, again, just email me. Use the email in the bottom of the video, and I'll get your accounts activated, again, with a small discount. So those are the three things: your banking, your payroll, and your payments. There's one other thing that's where most people get really frustrated, which is the templates. So I'm going to go back into QuickBooks Desktop for a second, and I'm going to pull up, let me go into customers, and I'm going to pull up an invoice. And this is the part that most people get frustrated, that they're used to their invoice looking at a certain way. So for example, I'm looking at this invoice that I had set up in QuickBooks Desktop. Maybe I customized it, maybe I added colors, maybe I added a logo. The invoices are not going to look like this. So this is the invoice you originally sent. This is invoice 1043. When you look at the same invoice in QuickBooks Online, let's look for it. It's going to look completely different. So I'm going to switch over to QuickBooks Online. I'm going to click on the magnifying glass and put 1043. And there's invoice 1043. I'm going to pull that up. The screen looks a little bit different. Almost all the fields are the same, very, very similar. Not the way it looks, but what's available. But when you go look at what this invoice looks like, I'm going to do a print preview. It's going to look completely different. They're just different templates. Okay, they're not the same templates. So bottom line, you're not going to be able to get them to look identical to QuickBooks Desktop. So if you want to keep your old files so you can keep them, if you want to print them or convert them into PDF and keep them as a record, you can. But the template system in QuickBooks Online is different, period. You're not going to be able to make it look the same. Now you can configure those templates. You can click on the gear menu up here, and then you can pick and choose what items you want to, or what fields you want to see. You can also click on, let me X out of this. You can click on the gear menu and click on customize form styles, and you can edit the current template, and you can go through all the different options you have in here. Like for example, there's different templates here that are pre-made, and they're very clean. They're very good looking, but they don't have the customizability that QuickBooks Desktop have. You will miss that about QuickBooks Desktop, because QuickBooks Online is just different. Now in 2022, at some point in the middle of 2022, Intuit promised a huge revamp of their estimate and invoice customization process. So by the time you watch this, the screen might look different, and it might be totally customizable and beautiful and even better than desktop. But depending on when you watch the video, this system might be more limited. Again, on the same link I will put in the description with my entire playlist. One of them talk about the customization process for those invoices. There's more stuff that you won't get to see. I can't cover it in the video, but I'm going to show you a link, and I'll put the link in the description as well, which is a web page that QuickBooks Online has that says when you convert your QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online, there are some nuances. There's many nuances, and you can click on each of these, like what happens to assemblies, what happens to attachments. Spoiler alert: attachments don't get uploaded. What happens to the audit trail? What happens to bills and bill payments? So I do suggest that you click on this link. I'll put it on the description, and you read all these things and make sure you're hyper aware that there are nuances almost in every module in QuickBooks. Payroll items, payments, some of the things I already mentioned, like linking your payment account to the QuickBooks Online account. So a lot of these things you want to read through and make sure that you know some stuff might not come over. So again, this is just for you to be hyper aware of it and not let it catch you by surprise. So there's many other things that you need to learn about QuickBooks Online. Again, I'll put a link in the description to my entire playlist of like an 8 or 9 hour video series that contains what I call the A through Z QuickBooks tutorial series. So you're going to have tons of fun watching my videos in the future. Now, how to get help. And this is one of the most common things. You get stuck, you can't figure things out. How to get help. So usually you're going to click on the help menu, and then the very first time you try to get help, QuickBooks is going to want you to take you through reading something, figuring out help on your own, not necessarily chatting with someone. So what you might want to do is get to the point where you can request a phone call or you can chat with someone. And usually the way you do that is you click up here where it says search, and then you click down here where it says contact us. When you click on contact us, you're going to put what your issue is. So you're going to say, I can't find my assembly items or something like that, right? Now, again, I mentioned this already. Assembly items don't come over, and you want to read that page. There's a lot of nuances around assemblies because QuickBooks Online is really not for manufacturing. So there's tons of things that you just won't do. But whatever, you're looking for something you can't figure out, you're going to start with that. Once you put your search, again, QuickBooks is going to want to try to search for stuff that's already out there, knowledge-based articles. They don't want to talk to you, right? They don't want to spend that resource of having somebody on the phone talk to you. So they're going to try to send you to find answers on your own. You can also start a chat. That's possible. I find that many times the chats are closed or they're not accessible. And if you are doing business hours, which is 9 to 8 Eastern time, you can request a callback. I'm actually recording this off hours, but in my opinion, requesting a callback is the best option, and they call back pretty fast. If you actually find the phone number and call them and wait on hold, that's going to take longer than requesting a callback. So I think the callback, it's a good idea. Now, what if you want to get more of a local person, more of a boots in the ground type person, a bookkeeper, an accountant, someone that might listen to you a little bit more deep, understand the business reasons behind your questions, not the software reasons behind the question. I can help you bridge the gap between your question and accounting and tax principles and that sort of thing. That's where you want to pay for help. So how do you find a local consultant, a local accountant that's a QuickBooks expert that can help you? Now, I'll mention this, although I'm not trying to sell my services. Our firm, this is what we do. We help people get set up in QuickBooks. We train them. We show them how to do things. We integrate with other systems, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes you'll call my firm and we're not available because we're super busy. Or sometimes you call my firm and you won't like our prices and you're going to price shop it or look for somebody local because we're in Miami and you might be somewhere else. So the way you find a QuickBooks advisor is you go into Google and you type find a pro advisor. So just type find a pro advisor, and that's going to take you straight into the find the QuickBooks Pro Advisor page. And then in the QuickBooks Pro Advisor page, that's where you put your zip code. So I'll put here my zip code and then click on find a pro advisor. And this is all local based. So I get it. Sometimes you can find consultants across the world that might be better than a local one, but so far this is all they have is local based. So it'll be nice to have someone that you eventually able to see face to face, but you will most likely do this work remotely because you don't physically need to go on site. In some cases you can. And then here you pick the kind of help that you're looking for. So you put accounting or bookkeeping or something like that. You might want to pick the industry. I'm a contractor. And then product supported. This is eventually where you're going to put QuickBooks Online, right? Because you're working with QuickBooks Online and you want to work with a consultant that can support QuickBooks Online, or better yet, someone that's certified in QuickBooks Online. So you're going to pick that. You're going to click on search, and this is going to do a search, and then it's going to find a consultant near you. You can go look at the consultant's reviews, the proximity. Some consultants give you the price on the first line. I like that because it just takes away some of the mystery. In some cases, some of the stuff is very nuanced, so it's difficult to give a price because you don't know what somebody wants. So you're going to go through, look at all the different options. You can read people's reviews. Usually, you pick the person you want to talk to. When you click here on phone number, it'll give you the phone number so you can call them. Sometimes you have the website in there, and sometimes you can email them straight from here. You just put your contact information, and they receive that lead straight in their email and their QuickBooks Online portal. So that's it. That's how you get help. That's how you convert QuickBooks Online. These are all the things that you need to know. One more time, my email's at the bottom of the screen. If something wasn't covered, something wasn't cleared, or I told you to contact me for one of the reasons that I mentioned, there's my email. And in the description, one more time, click on my playlist. It's called the QuickBooks Online Tutorial Playlist. Click on that. It will look something like this. It should have all the videos that I consider to be the perfect A through C sort of tutorials. You can go through them in order or skip them, and even within them, there should be table of contents on each one. And most of these, when you click on them and it takes you to the video, let me pause that. And when you take them to the video, these should have, even within the video, they should all have little bookmarks, so you know exactly what part of the video you want to skip to. And if you go down to the description, the ones that have bookmarks, you can look at or timelines rather, you can just skip exactly to what you're looking for. Example, so hold on, let me pause that, sorry. So again, strongly believe that my videos are probably one of the best sources out there. I'm sure there's a lot of other videos in YouTube and resources you can find, but of course you watch this video and you're all the way to this point, 30 minutes plus, 40 minutes plus, however long this video is, you obviously like the content, so you want to check out more of my videos. Once again, I hope your QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online conversion experience goes well. I hope to see you in another video. And again, check out all the links in the description. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.